Tonight, not interested in renewal.
We don't need anything that Canada has, but they need everything that we have.
The latest comments from the White House and what they mean for North American trade talks. Plus, prepared for the worst.
This simulation helps us to get that extra layer of comfort.
Local training for medical emergencies. And the future of the flock.
We as producers are only meeting 30 to 35% of the demand.
Pitching potential shepherds on a career in the proverbial pasture.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a signal from President Donald Trump saying a trade deal with Canada seems unlikely. He says the U.S. doesn't need anything Canada has, just as the Prime Minister was briefing Canada's premiers on how trade talks are progressing. With the latest, here's Abigail Beeman.
Well, I'm not looking to renew it.
Donald Trump says he's not interested in renewing the North American Free Trade Pact as Canada pushes for a full 16-year extension.
I don't know that I'm going to renew it because, to be honest with you, the United States does much better. Hey, we don't need anything that Canada has. We don't need anything that Mexico has, but they need everything that we have. And they have to treat us better.
The comments come on the heels of Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc's trip to Washington to meet with his counterpart, Jameson Greer.
I'm eternally optimistic, Abigail.
And Ontario Premier Doug Ford's attempt at a charm offensive in D.C., meeting 20-plus business leaders and lawmakers.
They rolled out the red carpet for us. They treat us so well.
The July 1st deadline for a CUSMA review now just weeks away, but trade experts and Canadian government officials alike trying to calm concerned stakeholder nerves that passing that deadline with no deal doesn't mean CUSMA falls apart, and Americans haven't signaled an intent to tear it up. But uncertainty is a real problem.
We've seen it so many times now. We know this is just how this guy talks in public. We know this is just the way he thinks he negotiates. Creates the specter that he's going to walk away from CUSMA.
No official comment from LeBlanc's office nor the Prime Minister's office, but Mark Carney has said several times he won't comment every time Trump speaks. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, officials with the Bank of Canada have held their benchmark interest rate steady, a fifth consecutive hold. How much longer that pattern will persist remains to be seen, though, in the face of economic turbulence and global uncertainty. With more, here's Rachel Aiello.
The uncertainty surrounding the fate of Canada's trade deal with the U.S. and the impact the war in the Middle East is having on global energy prices are among the main reasons for the central bank's decision. Today, Governor Tiff Macklem announced the Bank of Canada is holding the policy interest rate at 2.25%. Beyond global factors, Macklem cited a soft domestic economy as a contributing factor. But when asked whether he thinks Canada is in a recession, Macklem said that isn't the word he'd use.
Based on the data we've seen to date, the economy is weak, but it is not clearly in recession. There's been a lot of volatility, month to month, quarter to quarter. But when you look through the bumps, the economy hasn't really grown in the last year, but it hasn't shrunk either.
The central banker said economists typically define a recession as a significant contraction in economic activity that lasts more than one quarter. And in his estimation, that's not what Canada is experiencing so far. Despite what Macklem said today, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre continued to criticize the government for what he's calling a, quote, liberal recession. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening. It's a hot one out there. Temperatures feeling like the mid to upper 30s. A heat warning in effect in through Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Kent, and Sarnia, Lambton. Now the rest of southern Ontario, with the exception of the Bruce Peninsula, is baking under some very hot temperatures, and the humidity is really what's making things feel quite oppressive. So the Humidex anywhere between 28 to 30 as we head through here on Perth. In London, feeling like the mid 30s, but as we head towards Sarnia and Chatham, feeling close to 40. We've had a few pop-up showers late this afternoon into the evening, with the risk for thunderstorms as we head through the evening hours and into tonight. The main risks will be heavy downpours associated with those storms that are bubbling bubbling up on the radar. Winds out of the south continue. The temperature holding at 23 degrees. Those probabilities will ramp up through the evening. Stay with us. I'll have all your local weather details and a look ahead at some comfortable temperatures that will arrive for the weekend. Carlyle?
Thanks, Julie. London police say they're investigating an incident that resulted in a partial evacuation of Masonville Mall this afternoon. They say 2 employees sustained minor injuries after an undisclosed substance was deployed inside a store around 1:30 p.m. According to police, the suspect stole multiple items before getting away.
I was working, 2 teenagers about ages, I want to say around 14-ish, 13, went into the Champs, were doing whatever. I didn't see what happened. I only heard the commotion, and I saw the 2 of them run out with a bunch of stuff in hand and then run down about that way towards the shoppers and leave before everyone started coughing around the area.
Provincial police are reporting another stolen pride flag from a Thames Valley District public school, the second instance this week. With more on the investigation, this time in Glencoe. Here's Brian Bicknell.
A Canada flag and a pride flag sway in the breeze on the front wall of Echo Central Public School in Glencoe. They were erected Wednesday, replacement flags, after a suspect or suspects allegedly yanked the school flagpole from the ground, taking both the Canada and Pride flag with them. The chair of Strathroy Pride says it's disappointing.
It's sad. It's sad to hear that these things are still happening.
According to the OPP, a person or persons came onto the school property this past Saturday around 2 in the morning, knocked over the pole before leaving with the pole and the flags.
People that are against Pride events and are against the Pride community, they're loud, but they're also in small numbers. So you kind of need to balance that with larger numbers. You know, we have tried to extend some of our events past Strathroy, and it hasn't always gone very well.
It's the second time this week it's happened at a Thames Valley public school. Oxford OPP is investigating after a pride flag was stolen and flagpole cut down at Emily Stowe Public School in Norwich on the weekend. The second pride-related incident reported at that school this month. On June 1st, the pride flag was cut down and burned. The Thames Valley District School Board said it didn't have anyone to speak to the incident in Glencoe. It issued a statement saying, in part, the board stands in solidarity with 2SL LGBTQIA+ community against homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia. We remain firmly committed to promoting equity, inclusion, and the safety of all students in our schools. Frank Emanuel, a Thames Valley teacher himself, says the school board has gone to great lengths to foster inclusion.
But I truly believe they've done it right in terms of equity and inclusion and educating teachers, not just teachers, but making sure we also have materials in our schools to support this as well.
Pride flags are being flown at all Thames Valley schools and workplaces during the month of June, which is Pride Month. Brian Bicknell, CTV News, Glencoe.
A pathology report was presented today at the murder trial in St. Thomas. It highlighted the injuries suffered by a 22-year-old woman who was killed 3 years ago. With more, here's Nick Paparella.
Forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Schrum examined the body of 22-year-old Caitlin Jennings the day after her body was removed from this home at 562 Kingsway Avenue in West London on July 5th of 2023. Hours after her lifeless body was discovered, police arrested her one-time boyfriend, 53-year-old David Yates. As he testified, the doctor told the court about the extensive injuries the victim suffered, with an estimated 200 wounds. He spoke about large cuts found on her head, saying some of the lacerations or tears to the skull are semicircle. They could be caused by a hammer. Then a photograph of her face is shown, and he says you can see pretty extensive bruising and dark red areas around her eyes and cheeks. He adds, on the left cheek there is a laceration. It goes through to inside the mouth. He said besides broken bones to a forearm and hand that may have been defensive, there is a fracture to the lower jaw, and there are 2 other fractures. And when a photo of her back is shown, he says, you see multiple abrasions or scrapes. A number appear semicircular. I think there are 50 to 55. Yates is charged with second-degree murder in this case and has pled not guilty. Each time the images of Caitlin's badly beaten body are shown inside the courtroom, spectators are warned that they are graphic and disturbing. When referring to some of the wounds, Dr. Shrum said the person was still alive. The heart was still beating when those injuries were sustained. After a full examination of Caitlin's body was conducted, the doctor filed a report and concluded that multiple blunt force trauma injuries caused her death. The Crown's case against Yates continues. In St. Thomas, Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Norfolk OPP say a dirt bike rider has died after a crash earlier this week. They say emergency crews were called to Forestry Farm Road south of Delhi late Monday night. According to police, the 35-year-old riding the bike hit a road sign. They say they were airlifted to hospital but did not survive. Officials with Children's Health Foundation here in London are expanding a program designed to help healthcare teams across the province prepare for critical medical emergencies. With more, here's Rita Ismail.
It cries like a toddler, mimics breathing, and even has a pulse. This high-tech simulator is helping doctors and nurses prepare for some of the most critical pediatric emergencies.
Looks like his oxygen's responded to our intervention.
The simulators are used through the Pediatric Regional Outreach Program, or PROP. The training is brought directly to community hospitals across Ontario.
I always like to use the aviation or pilot example, right? So pilots always do simulation training for those rare events where, there's going to be an emergency. And of course, when we get on a plane, we take comfort in knowing that they are prepared. And so we're providing the same thing for care providers.
In smaller communities like Woodstock, critically ill children are rarely seen, but when those cases do happen, staff say they need to be ready.
It would be a rare, we call like a high acuity, low opportunity event to have a really sick kid. And so the best way for us to be comfortable with this is rehearsal. And PROP has the ability to bring that rehearsal to us so that we can get the muscle memory and the comfort.
Beyond the clinical skills, the simulations focus on how teams communicate and respond under pressure.
Really what it's about is learning the teamwork and the crisis resource management skills. That's really where a lot of this work is focused.
The program aims to reach 33 hospitals across Ontario and train more than 1,100 healthcare professionals, all at no cost to participating hospitals. For frontline teams, the training provides confidence in situations that are both medically and emotionally challenging.
This simulation helps us to get that extra layer of comfort, so that we can manage this really challenging cognitive event, this really challenging, medical event and challenging emotional event, and be professionals and deliver good care.
The simulators and training are funded through donor support from Children's Health Foundation. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
At London City Hall, a new plan was unveiled today for revitalizing the downtown. It could require as much as $50 million over the next decade, but there may be an even bigger decision looming when it comes to a potential replacement for City Hall itself. With more, here's Daryl Newcomb.
London's proposed downtown plan aims to strengthen and revitalize the city's core over the next 10 years. It's an action plan with 58 components focused on housing, livability, economic development, and downtown activation. That to-do list that could total $48 million would require City Hall to realign existing budgets and fund business cases in the next multi-year budget.
What we're trying to do and what this plan speaks to is kind of using downtown as a mixed-use community. It's not just an office space or a working space as itself. It's also a neighborhood.
Mayor Josh Morgan recently led a call by the mayors of Canada's largest cities for downtown investments to become part of the federal government's nation-building projects.
So we're going to need a really bold vision to actually allow our downtown to achieve its potential and match the ambition that the mayors across this country have for our downtowns as economic drivers, as places of centers of culture, as places places where it's our calling card to the world.
Not detailed in this plan, but certainly a major decision for the future of downtown London is where council will decide to build a new city hall, as the current 55-year-old building is facing increasing repair and maintenance costs.
We know there's great potential both on this site and in our downtown core to find something that works. I can't tell you what that is today because I think we've got to think about this holistically in combination with our entire strategy on the downtown.
A very well-placed area, maybe even leveraging some natural heritage aspects that downtown has, and some historical appropriate places that it can be, can really ground us in our identity and who we are.
A council committee will consider the new downtown plan on June 16th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The former London Transit Commission chair is the latest contender for a city council seat in this fall's municipal election.
What I saw, especially during my tenure at LTC, is that these are not issues that a singular person, a singular entity, a singular councillor or level of government can tackle, which means one of the primary things that we need to do much better at is being cooperative and collaborative.
Stephanie Marentet is the 61st person registered as a city council candidate running in Ward 6, facing incumbent Sam Trosseau and candidates Ian Sterling and Naomi Nadea. We're about a third of the way into the nomination period now, with the deadline to register set for August 21st. A new full-service hangar is operational at London's airport, described as a new standard for private aviation. With more on the facility and its targeted clientele, here's Jerry Dewan.
It's unlike any other hangar at the London International Airport.
London Airport traditionally has never had a facility of this caliber to house larger corporate aircraft.
Fiset Chief Operating Officer Eric Ross says there's now a need to offer services that suit an international clientele, including the growing number of European companies with operations in London, like Italy-based pasta company Andriani and German-based pizza maker Dr. Oetker.
We've got now a full facility for these corporations to be able to come in. Before, they were never comfortable coming into London and staying.
Ross says the new 35,000 square foot hangar has already hosted a Gulfstream G500 corporate jet.
We just had General Dynamics bring in their corporate aircraft from head office, and they stayed overnight, which they've never been able to do.
Ross says they tried to think of everything. Along with being able to service the aircraft, there's office space, meeting rooms for catered functions, and a bistro for flight crews. The hangar also allowed FlyExcite to expand its own charter business, recently acquiring a helicopter that can quickly get people to meetings or public functions.
And that's really what corporate aviation is all about. The stigma of it's the high-class flying, it really isn't true. It's a time-saving for corporations to be able to conduct their business in a shorter amount of time, freeing up executive time for other projects.
The new FlyExcite facility has been open for about a month now, but will have its official grand opening on August 21st at the beginning of the London Air Show. They'll take in the opening of Air Show London from a second-level deck overlooking the airport. Ross says the new hangar wouldn't have been possible without the foresight of the team at the London International Airport. They provided service lands just a few hundred feet away from the airstrip. He says FlyExcite built the new facility while keeping an option open for a possible expansion.
When we first completed this, we thought, oh boy, we might be a few years ahead of our time, and it would take a while before we consider doing phase 2. But we're finding more and more our facility is starting to fill up more quickly than expected.
Roth believes that as the region grows and continues to attract businesses like the PowerCo EV Gigafactory, the need for corporate travel will also continue to grow. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Fundraisers in Goderich say they're about halfway to their goal of bringing an MRI to their community. They say they've cleared the $3 million mark on their way to a $6.5 million target. Organizers say there's currently no MRI machine in Huron or Bruce County, with patients traveling to Owen Sound, Stratford, or London. They say they expect to hit their fundraising goal sometime next year, aiming to get the MRI operational in Goderich in 2028. A new program in Huron County is trying to entice more young farmers to raise sheep. As Scott Miller reports, if you order lamb at an Ontario restaurant, there's a good chance it came from somewhere else.
When we process lambs out,
Michael Richards is looking for a whole lot more future farmers to join him in raising sheep in Ontario.
We as producers are only meeting 30 to 35% of the demand.
So Ontario Sheep Farmers' new initiative is we want to meet the demand by 50%. We want to grow our industry to 50% of the demand by 2040.
Richards was one of the sheep farmers in Clinton recently, trying to educate nearly 50 students taking the specialist high skills major in agriculture about the advantages of an industry very few Ontarians and very few farmers, for that matter, are aware of.
I've come up from a cattle family, and I find that sheep are easier. They're easier to manage. I can do a lot of it myself with minimum efforts from outside help.
While Huron and Perth counties have a large rural component, most farms are highly specialized, raising one kind of animal or a handful of crops. The specialist high skills major course in agriculture is designed to expand those potential agri-food horizons.
We actually have a group from Goddard that are part of the hospitality and tourism. So they're more focused on the culinary aspect of it today. And so they're looking forward to the session with the chef in the kitchen where they'll get to prepare, it sounds like a high-end meal using the lamb.
Many of the out-of-class agricultural sessions, including ones with horses and beef cattle, have been happening at the Reach Center in Clinton.
We want to bridge that gap that's being created by biosecurity issues, where kids aren't really able to get up and be that close to animals anymore and understand their personality and their traits.
Richards just hopes he can entice one or two of these future farmers to give sheep a shot, because the sky is the limit for an industry that isn't coming close to meeting market demand.
With only meeting 30% of the demand, we're able to keep that ceiling as an endless ceiling of growth.
In Clinton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, London athletes bringing back an OFSA medal haul. Details on their successes up next in the Tee-Up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. It's the Tee-Up with Brent Lail. And Brent, we're starting off with a local boxer getting back in the ring after a lengthy break.
Yeah, Natasha the Nightmare Spence. She's so good, she's having trouble finding opponents willing to step in the ring with her.
Freeze. Catch. Hook cross. Backing up. Push. Backing up. Freeze. Flip.
Fists of fury right there. This Friday, boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. has invited Spence to Washington to fight for the WBA International Middleweight title. It's the Night of Champions against a veteran U.S. fighter who she fought last year, in which Spence unanimously won. But this time will be a 10-round fight instead of 12. And even after a pair of wins last year, she's gone back to the drawing board to try to improve, and she's showcasing herself in front of one of the greatest boxers of all time.
It's surreal. It's surreal to be headlining a Roy Jones promotions card, and I'm having conversations on the phone with him, and my hard work is finally starting to show, and it's starting to pay off. He's a great mentor to have, and it's just been it's been uphill since my last fight, and this is honestly just scratching the surface. You'll see a different nightmare on June 12th, but it's going to be fun.
The Ontario Hockey League draft is this weekend, and for the first time in 25 years, they're switching from an online draft to in-person.
Yeah, the first round will be Friday night in Kingston, and then the remaining rounds will be Saturday. A couple of London Junior Knights will go on day one. There's a chance 3 members of this team could be expected on the first day, but there will be at least 2. Drew Bate of Union, just south of St. Thomas, scored 34 goals and had 72 points last year. He's projected anywhere from number 3 to number 8. Then defenseman Ryan Beaulieu, whose father Josh was an ex-London Knight, a skilled defenseman. He's ranked 17th overall in the top 100. And then Finn Butler, a big forward who can crash the net and score goals just like that, could sneak into round 1.
I think Drew Bate will go fairly high. He's a really talented, skilled forward, plays two-way game really strongly, 200-foot player and tenacious, good competitor. Ryan Beaulieu is a defenseman, was my captain last year, possesses the puck well, controls and commands the game, skates well, has a lot of skill and very high hockey IQ. And Finn Butler was a big 6'6", 210-pound power forward. He's got a big toolbox with ability to skate, shoot, handle the puck. He's a force when he's out there.
And the London Knights will have the 14th pick in the draft, so Bate will be long gone, but they may have a shot at Beaulieu. The under-18 draft was held Monday with London selecting center Cam Goddard from Oakville, then goalie Andrew Menlove of St. Thomas, followed by Ethan Hacklander of the London Junior Knights. And sticking with the Knights, a sad note to pass along. Brian Dennis, who was assistant trainer for 31 years, passed away this week. Dennis started as a volunteer helper with the club in 1974-75 and stuck around as a teenager through their first Memorial Cup win in 2005. Known as Sticks, Brian Dennis was 67 years old.
I did the 80-meter softball throw and the long jump.
Hey, there's Noah from Montcalm. He was one of 1,500 Special Olympic athletes competing over 2 days in the Thames Valley District School Board's event at Western University. It's a massive event, 104 schools involved, 160 volunteers, and 1,500 student supporters. They competed in running, throws, and the long jump.
A big week for London athletes at the Provincial High School Championships, bringing home 10 OFSA gold medals.
Yeah, the London region just dominated both on the soccer pitch and the track, coming home with more than 25 medals in total. St. Thomas Parkside won the novice boys crown in track, Oak Ridge taking the senior girls title. The STA girls soccer team has gone back-to-back at OFSA.
It's definitely exciting. I don't think it's really ever been done. We have such a great group of girls, and it was amazing the first time, and it was amazing the second. We lost a lot of grade 12s last year, but we had such a deep bench that it didn't even matter.
The question now, is there a three-peat in the cards?
We're going to have a very young team. I think 8 of us are the grade 12s are going to be leaving, so I don't know. We'll see if we can do it again.
Holy Cross from Strathroy is coming home with gold from single A girls soccer.
Georgian!
To the track and make it 4 straight gold medals in the 800-meter for Medway's Ryan Georgeson.
Ever since grade 9, when I first went off, so it's been a goal to win every year, so felt great. It was a pretty windy day at OFSA, so I decided to just sit with everyone until last 250 and then kick it into gear and try and win.
It was a massive week for Wassa track athletes, bringing home 7 gold medals. Jenna Tunks of Oak Ridge winning the discus and the shot put, helping her senior girls to a team title. Ali Jasinskis of Banting with a gold in the pole vault. Teammate Olivia Folk with first place in the shot put. Zoe Shantz of Woodstock blew away the field in the women's intellectually impaired 100-meter, and Ezekiel Kerr of Clark Road did the same for the boys. Then Noah Matora of STA won gold in discus.
It was amazing, especially my last senior year before going to university. I was pretty nervous going into my discus because I felt like I had a lot to lose, and I went back to just the basics, and I did a normal non-reverse throw, and then it was enough to get me the win. And I'm glad I did it.
And finally, the World Cup gets underway tomorrow with the big game on Friday afternoon, Canada-Bosnia. Carlyle, I know you're going to be there.
I will be there. Dream come true opportunity to check out all those games. We were talking off air about how can't really put a price on a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You can. I know exactly how much it is, but well worth it. Looking forward to it.
How many games are you going to?
I'm going to every group stage game. I'll be off starting next week. Be heading out to Vancouver to watch some of those games with a bunch of some friends along the way, seeing some family, so making a whole trip out of it. Hopefully they get some wins. That'd be nice.
That's fantastic. I know so many people wanting to go to those games, not able to get tickets. Such a lucky lottery system that they had. But there's lots of watch parties in the city. So if you didn't get a chance to get tickets, or you want to follow all the soccer games going on, you can follow those, of course.
Should be able to find somewhere to watch the games.
I feel like it's going to be a big party.
Yeah,
and you don't have to watch in the rain because it looks like it's going to be nicer.
I've been watching the weather for Friday.
Yes, yeah. So Friday is improving for sure. We do have some rain in the forecast first thing in the morning, but other than that, we're expecting to break out, so that's good. In terms of our temperatures, it's going to cool off as well over the weekend, but wow, guys, it was hot today. 30 degrees. It felt like the upper 30s this afternoon. Our low temperature dropped down to 21 last night, so that's closer to a normal daytime high for this time of year, our overnight low. There has been some active weather in the area. We've had showers and thunderstorms developing, and some big storms west of us, so stateside, so watching that as we head through the evening. Across the country, it's cool in Western Canada. Temperatures holding between 12 and 16 degrees. And then as we edge closer to home, we still have some hot conditions to the north, but Thunder Bay tonight starting to cool off. And out east, the warmth is slowly drifting towards southern Quebec, as you can see, and into the Maritimes, with the exception of Newfoundland. Across our area tonight, we're not going to see a big drop-off. Now, I mentioned earlier showers and thunderstorms developing. The potential will continue. The main threats will be heavy downpours associated with these storms. And, of course, we could see some gusty winds. So we could see a lot of rainfall in a very short period of time. But the thing with these thunderstorms is they are quite scattered in nature. Not everyone sees the rainfall. So when we're in a situation where it's been extremely dry, it'd be nice to see just a nice steady rainfall, but that's not the case. Overnight, it looks like most of this precipitation will be confined areas north of London and north of central Huron, Perth, so north of those areas, so in and around Grey Bruce and northern Huron, Perth. Temperature-wise, anywhere between 16 and 22, so staying a bit cooler towards the Bruce Peninsula, and that'll be the weather story for tomorrow as well. So here's the showers and thunderstorms that have been developing. That'll push through anytime between 7:30, 8:30 p.m., and then another round as we head through the overnight and first thing in the morning towards Grey and Bruce County. As we go out 24 hours, though, look at how we clear the skies. So that means we're back into sunshine. It's going to heat up again tomorrow afternoon. Daytime high anywhere between 28 and 30 in the area. But once again, feeling like the upper 30s. So this is the cold front. It's a monster as it starts to come in, but as it comes into southern Ontario, the bulk of the energy falls apart. The reason? Timing. So it's going to come through overnight, which means it loses the fuel of the sunshine. If that front were to come through any earlier, we could get into a potential severe weather situation. So good news with the front that's coming in Friday morning. That brings the rainfall and the chance for showers in the morning, but it also comes the storms in advance will come through overnight. Your forecast tomorrow afternoon, 30 degrees, the winds out of the southwest, feeling like the upper 30s. It'll be cooler as we head toward Wyerton at 23 and a bit cooler along the shoreline of Huron and Erie. But in the interior, daytime highs anywhere from 27 in Mount Forest all the way to 32 towards Windsor. The next 7 days will feature these hot temperatures just for really one more day. It'll be humid Friday morning and quite muggy. The front will come through and the cooler and drier air will take hold Friday night. By Saturday, an absolutely beautiful day with full sunshine and 27. It's going to feel like 27, not 37. Chance of showers on Sunday. We do have a cold front coming in. With the passage of that front, we could see a little bit of light rainfall. 21 on Monday. So there's your temperature drop with the passage of that front. So we likely will squeak out some showers on Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud Tuesday and Wednesday. Daytime highs nice and comfortable through next week. Midwestern Ontario, varied temperatures, cooler towards the Bruce, Huron, Perth, upper 20s, feeling like the upper 30s. And then as we head into your Friday, the chance for showers, but likely just in the morning. Forecast models really indicating that front comes through, temperatures drop, cool and comfortable for the weekend. And Saturday looks like the very best day with tons of sunshine in the forecast and nice, comfortable conditions. Carlyle, I'll send things back to you.
Thanks, Julie. Still ahead, left with the bill, the Ontario man facing $150,000 in medical costs after his travel health insurance was denied.
Airshow London is coming back for another summer, one of the best weekends of the entire year at London International Airport, and we, Pure Country 93, want to get you there. Tomorrow morning in Prizetown, you've got a chance to score a car pass to the show. Be listening at 7:10.
U.S. inflation numbers were released today, indicating the consumer price index rose by 4.2% in May. It's the highest inflation level since April 2023 and marks the third straight monthly increase for the U.S. Analysts say the increase is mostly because of rising energy costs associated with America's war in Iran, and it's expected to put pressure on the U.S. Federal Reserve with another interest rate decision expected next week. New numbers on Canada's rental market show dropping prices in the country's biggest markets. According to the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation's latest report, asking rents in Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary and Ottawa declined in the fourth quarter of 2025. Landlords in those markets are reporting more competition from new supply as the primary reason for lower rents. An Ontario man is sharing his experience and his substantial medical bill after his travel health insurance claim was denied. With more on his circumstances and the insurance company's argument, here's Pat Foran.
Bahoz Ali of Oshawa went to Mexico in April of 2024, and before he left, he purchased travel medical insurance.
Did pay for travel insurance as per usual, you kind of just have it as a precaution. It's always there.
A week before they were to fly to Cancun, he felt like he had the flu, so he went to a walk-in clinic.
I went to see a medical physician, and they confirmed that it was just a run-of-the-mill sickness and I should be perfectly fine to go on the trip.
But 2 days after Ali got to the resort, he started to feel unwell. He later had seizures and slipped into a coma.
I don't remember much of anything afterwards.
He received treatment in Mexico for 8 days and then was flown back to Canada by air ambulance. All his bills were paid, but a year later he was told he was not covered and he would have to pay back over $147,000.
It just was like a moment of panic, stress, like what are we going to do about it?
An investigation into the claim found Ali had gone to a walk-in clinic before the trip. Manulife told CTV News Mr. Ali was experiencing symptoms and had sought medical care related to a pre-existing condition. Since the condition was known at the time of travel, this affected how coverage was applied. Reimbursement of the amount paid is owed to Global XL Management.
This is really sad because it's a lot of money.
Insurance expert Martin Firestone says it's an unfortunate situation.
Doctors in here say that it had nothing to do with the flu or any of the symptoms that he presented. The insurance company is saying, we believe there's a connection between the two. That's the problem.
Ali's father says everyone should know, even if you have travel health insurance, your bills may not be covered.
When they need them, they will respond them. They find the excuse not to pay.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was weighed down by losses in the basic materials sector. The TSX fell 260 points in New York. The Dow dropped 953. The Nasdaq lost 509. The Canadian dollar gained almost 1/10 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold is down more than $150 an ounce. Oil added $1.83 a barrel. Still to come, 106 and still going strong. A Canadian Centenarian shares her secret for longevity. Welcome back. An investigation is underway in Northern Ontario after an OPP officer was killed in the line of duty. OPP officials say Constable Taran Bali died Tuesday afternoon in the small community of Hearst, which is about 550 kilometers north of Sudbury. They say he was trying to arrest someone who had fled from a hospital where they were being assessed under the Mental Health Act. During the process, police say Constable Bali was run over by the patient, who is now being charged with first-degree murder. Provincial government officials say they are investing nearly $8 million to locate, secure and plug old inactive oil and gas wells across the province. The issue gained attention after the 2021 gas explosion in Wheatley, which injured 20 people and was later linked to a legacy well. The Natural Resources Minister says this latest announcement brings the year's total investment to nearly $11 million, funding well plugging projects, training and emergency response efforts. According to government estimates, there are roughly 27,000 inactive wells across Ontario, and most of them are in southwestern Ontario. Protesters arrived in Ottawa today demanding the federal government scrap plans for a high-speed rail connection between Toronto and Quebec City. With more on their concerns, here's Geneviève Beauchemin.
Farmers took their protest to Parliament Hill today, intent on derailing the Alto high-speed train project.
I'm the 7th generation on the farm, and the train, it's really not good for the next generations, and it can destroy agriculture.
They say they fear losing land, losing part of their livelihood. Conservatives lent their support to their cause.
To fight for our rural communities, to fight for our taxpayers and for affordability against this $90 billion Liberal white elephant.
This and other signs say farmers of growing opposition. On Tuesday, the Parti Québécois vowed to withdraw Quebec's support for the high-speed train project if elected in the October provincial vote, and it's leading in the polls. It says the goal of the project is bolstering Canadian unity and says the central issue for Quebecers is local mobility, not travel to Ontario. But several mayors, including Montreal's and Quebec City's, defended the 1,000-kilometre electric rail corridor to link Toronto to Quebec City. It's good for the economy, they say, good for the environment. The federal government says it would create more than 50,000 jobs and that Ottawa is footing the bill.
This is a project, a formidable nation-building project that includes Quebec. And of course, were it not to include Quebec, then there's really no project. But it is a federal project.
But in Mirabel, opposition is particularly fierce. Thousands of farms were expropriated decades ago for an airport terminal that never really took off. They want to stop any train project that could section out the region.
And farmers say they'll continue to hold protests, continue to try to have their voices heard by Ottawa. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Mirabel, Quebec.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight and into Thursday morning. Temperatures remain steamy until Friday. Cooler conditions with the passage of a cold front arrive by Friday afternoon and into the weekend. Thanks so much, Amanda, for sending your photograph in to share as our snapshot of the day.
President Donald Trump says American forces are going to attack Iran hard. He had posted this on social media saying, in part, they've taken too long to negotiate a deal that would have been great for them. Now they will have to pay the price. Trump's warning came hours after Iran launched strikes on Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. There is still a ceasefire technically in place, but there have been back and forth strikes twice this week. Meanwhile, the Iranians are demanding an end to fighting in Lebanon, where fighting continues between Israel and the Iranian-backed Hezbollah. Lebanese security sources say Israeli airstrikes killed at least 13 people in the south today, while the militant group claimed new attacks against Israeli forces there. Sports safety advocates are using the World Cup as an opportunity to push for soccer organizations to rethink headers. They say for younger players, they pose an unnecessary risk, which could have consequences later in life. With more, here's John Venevalley-Rao.
Here's how to head the ball. A staple of the game, heading allows a player to redirect the ball instead of using their feet, and is traditionally learned at a young age.
So where's your dad?
My dad's right there. But after what happened to her father, Georgia Riznita would like to see it banned for kids.
It's up to us to protect the next generation.
Marino Riznita played soccer starting in Romania at age 5 and later competed with teams in Italy and Toronto.
He lit up when he was on the field. He was built for it.
As a midfielder, heading like this was part of his game. At age 57, though, he suffered the first of 3 strokes followed by dementia. And when he died last year, Georgia donated his brain to the Canadian Concussion Center. An autopsy confirmed the presence of what she long suspected, the degenerative brain disease, CTE, which has been linked to repeated minor head impacts.
I decided to donate his brain because I think that we need to realize that CTE is just not massive blow impact. It's repetitive, and it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
A decade ago, America's Soccer Federation banned heading for kids 10 and under. Much of the UK has also barred such kids from headers during practice. Soccer Canada has also issued guidelines stating for kids under 11, heading should not be introduced in training sessions. But concussion advocate Tim Fleiser thinks there should be a ban and has 3 kids who play soccer.
In my 10-year-old soccer game the other day, I counted almost 20 headers. So it is happening, and it's happening in games.
Since the human brain doesn't fully develop until well into adulthood, experts say repeated blows to the head are particularly concerning for kids.
That repetitive head impact might have long-lasting effects, which makes us worried.
So this is him in Canada.
It's been a year this week since Georgia's father passed away.
I wanted, his legacy to help with the research on CTE and to help the next generation.
Meanwhile, advocates for a stricter policy say Canada Soccer has committed to meeting with them after the World Cup. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A developing story now from City Hall where.
Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, an early birthday celebration for an Ottawa woman about to turn 106 years old. With more on her enduring longevity, here's Katie Griffin.
Happy birthday, dear Wynne. Wynne Beecroft has a lot to celebrate.
I was born July the 2nd, 1920.
To mark turning 106 next month, afternoon tea at the Fairmont Chateau Laurier.
It's rather puzzling, but when I come to think about it, I suppose 106 is a lot of days.
Beecroft was born in England.
My mother, when I was young, told me I would never be anything but a servant. So I said, to heck with you.
Beecroft served with the Royal Air Force during the Second World War. She was one of the Enigma girls, helping to break the German code.
We tuned the dials and we tried to hear whatever Morse code was coming over from the enemy, as it were. If we got a full message on a full page, we used to call the supervisor. The supervisor would say, oh, hurry, hurry, and off he'd go to send it off to headquarters.
She came to Canada in 1955 with her husband Rex and 3 children. The grandmother of 5, the backbone of her family.
She's had so many obstacles in her way in life. She's overcome them all. She's always been very, very loving and supportive.
This milestone celebration thanks to Wynne's friends.
As we go through life, it's very rare to find good friends that you have for years and years and years. And every year they become a little bit more precious.
The hotel pulling out all the stops.
When I got that email, I was like, immediately, this is so exciting, and how cool was it that they would choose us to celebrate with.
As for the secret to living such a long life, Beecroft says luck and eggs.
When I was a young girl, my mother put me on eggs. She said they were very good for me. So I've had 2 eggs every day since. And this is what I say when people say, what keeps you so young? I said 2 eggs a day.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.